how do we move beyond that and use the tensions to empower our work and not divide us. Yeah, I suppose just to say again, we're hoping to harvest some themes. So the idea for the agenda is to go through a series of partner sharing and group sharings in order to then we'll collect some of the themes that are emerging, and that'll hopefully lead into the afternoon sessions, one that John is leading and another that will be led by Kosha and
Stefan.
Right.
And it's also supposed to feed into the defending the sacred workshop by Tamara. And I don't totally understand how whatever we just till today will channel into the afternoon sessions, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. It's emergence.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, I'll do the next one. So are you able to put that down so that you can kind of be in your own body and
not have that? Yes, I am. I was trying to set up a area. Is that good? Is that okay? I didn't know if are you going to be using this?
I mean, it'd be better if you put it there and you sat here.
Okay.
If that's where you want to be. Or we put a straw bale behind.
That's what, yeah. If
Or the chair behind.
Let's see. How's this maybe?
It's okay.
Oh yeah, is there? Oh,
That would be interesting.
wait,
Right,
okay.
but
I just have to.
works.
I just have to see 1 second here. What is that?
Oh,
No.
That
It would be cool. Oh, here. I got it. I got it.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We did it.
Good.
Yes, it is.
You know this pole is Israfil.
Should we give a short
Well, it was the
intro?
tree of
for those
Midgard,
people?
huh?
Sure,
Yeah. Hello, everyone. We're here at the European Eco Village Conference in Italy, and we are about to start a session on building solidarity, peace, and reconciliation work, hoping to harvest themes from the conference. And this is the lovely group we have.
So this is also incubation, right?
It is incubating for the emerging forum.
Yeah, good.
You might be looking for clips.
Yes, I was looking for that
Do you
as well.
feel able
For
to
clips.
join us?
I do.
I don't know.
I need
There's a workshop on
like 1 minute because what I ended up doing and I don't want to
Whatever,
take over.
I can find you.
But I'm on YouTube instead of Facebook or Instagram. So then we can
We can move that
over just a little bit.
so that way.
You could angle it down just a bit. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So
Join us for work. We're doing this distillation of themes from the morning theme. I mean, I guess you would be helpful for us, but maybe it wouldn't be helpful for the way your process goes.
Oh, I would like, but maybe I need to think that.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But I'm interested.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Building
Okay.
solidarity around the issue.
Sorry.
I'm waiting until you're here.
I'll be 30 seconds to share this.
We can start, no?
No, I'm not going to start.
He doesn't, yeah.
We actually keep pressing.
What a concept. That maybe that's something for us to learn, right? To build solidarity, we all need to be present. I definitely am working on it. Okay.
Okay, can I just invite you to connect yourself with the ground, with the straw bale you're sitting on. Notice your breath, the deep breaths your eyes open or closed. And just begin to take yourself back into the session we had this morning. And review your experience of that. So what's arising in your body? What do you remember? What images, what words, what senses? What feelings? What arises around relationship? What's arising in your mind? What thoughts? What ideas? And I'll just maybe give you a minute or two just to watch. With that. When you're ready, open your eyes. See when you're ready to move on. And I'm just thinking, we're going to do this in pairs. It might be. Cynthia, would it work for you to be in a? You weren't here for all the session, right? That's okay. So maybe if you want to listen in, then
Yes,
we can
Okay,
do pairs, but we can have about 10 minutes, 5 minutes each. And I'd invite you to use it for intentional listening. So for one of you to say what's come up to you, and the other to listen, to give focused listening. Have you got your bell?
Yeah.
And I'll ring the bell. Can you just check who your pair is going to be? Make sure you know who you're pairing with. And if you want, we can do a
Oh yeah,
bit of catch
and
up.
I can just listen.
Okay, so let's see. You're pairing as well?
No, I was going to pair with her.
You know,
And
you're gonna
we'll pair and do
Okay.
a review. And I'll give you a bell to start and a 5-minute warning to turn around to swap, and then another. So these are Cynthia's bells.
Would you like to start? Well, I read it. Would you like to start?
Would you like to start?
No, I prefer if you prefer.
And actually, maybe what I'm gonna do. If it's okay with you, is we'll just keep this here so we can see.
And also just reflecting.
So this was the morning plenary for our first themed day, which is on peace. We opened with introductions from, I think the main substantive ones were from Declan, Jennifer and Trudy. So Declan is one of the co-holders of the conference, and Jennifer is the president of Gen, and Trudy is the network director of Gen, and they were speaking about their experiences around peace work in their own settings. So Declan from Ireland, Jennifer from Colombia, and the work of Casa Latina, the Latin American Eco-Village Network, and Trudy, who's from Sri Lanka, the experience of working within the post-colonial setting in Asia.
Have a lot of respect.
And I think we heard about a lot of positive work that's happening, but also a lot of, for me, I guess I heard a lot of pain as well.
Yes.
Urgency and not enough time. That it's both the human conflict and the separation from
brainstorm through all
and the way the earth is being used, misused, destroyed. We weren't. They weren't talking
No,
about.
I'm
I'm
just
sorry.
okay.
Okay.
Oh my God, they're giving so much opportunity side
more
ego identification. I don't deserve it.
We
Or I'd
heard
rather have
from
allow space for other people.
an Israeli and a Palestinian. We heard from somebody who was born in an eco-village and is working both within the community as part of a community on building the future, but also on defending nature, and particularly
how many times
Like when I'm here at
civil
the
disobedience
the
to
European conference, there's speakers from around the world.
stop oil drilling in Portugal.
In the United
We heard
States,
from a young woman who has lived through the recent conflict in Cameroon, the experience of building community around people, trying to find a way through that, and supporting young people in finding their way with that. And we've heard from somebody who's working with mediation in human relationships, in very normal, everyday human relationships and conflicts. Building connection there.
What did they talk about? What those tools are, or what that is? There an organization that they're with?
very removed.
So I'll just share what I
Okay, sorry.
stands out for me. I'm
Yes.
sorry,
No, no
and
problem.
I can't remember everything.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. I'm so grateful that you're sharing.
Units to deal with.
If it doesn't enter the resolution, don't say.
And trying to change.
And the fifth one is what you're saying, better than the silent treatment.
I'm just gonna
Oh, time.
Which I find is
Connected to the college health somehow. That we think this movement is very
then we'll
and wanting more regenerative ecosystems. But we also really need to restore the social.
5 minutes already?
Yeah.
So 5 minutes, yeah.
So, yeah, I wish you the luck you said.
Sorry, I know the
I'm struggling.
So I think some of the themes that for me were very strong coming out of that. I was really struck that Sunita, the Cameroonian woman, young woman, the response was coming from a small group of, I think, young women who had found their way into a forest
really good relationship.
escaping from the conflict in the cities, and had developed a meditation practice together, and were going back and forth from the forest to the cities where they were working with young people to help them find meaning, I guess, to find things to do, actually just busyness, finding ways they can be busy.
To occupy the mind.
To occupy that, I'm not sure.
Or
I didn't hear that. I
Oh,
heard
okay.
I heard to have something to do.
Okay.
Symbols of ankle sprains and stuff.
From the Israeli and Palestinian, the work they've been doing, very much with Eco Village support, actually here in Banyaya, bringing people here
It's a compromise solution that I found.
for Palestinians and Israelis to meet each other and to build relationships and to listen to each other,
Still be able to deal
and also bringing trainers, people here to be trained in reconciliation work.
and I'm finding a way of being
Um,
in this way, but it's I realize that quite heavy toll.
Which on the bottom line for
Quite a
me
heavy
is
toll.
writing
It
content,
comes with hope listening
but
to these people.
has to go
And it breaks my heart to
mind,
see this kind of
Yeah.
mind,
And I
that
guess
part of that
Coverage
mind,
parts of the world.
I'm trying to find where are the
I think some of the threads for me that were arising out of this,
okay, like down to the
it's a huge mixture of the pain and
daily
being with the pain.
local level, like
And
town,
The many kinds of work that people are doing, the many ways that people are engaging, and that some of it goes from the individual meditation practice and discipline and spiritual consciousness. And so Anita particularly was talking about the meditation as trying to get to a place of being able to accept what's happening. So I think that place may be where we're not struggling against what's happening. To the relational aspect of the heart connection of being in a place where everyone is my friend, where we invite people in to tell us their stories.
I'm already happy because I buy everything from my
So I'm gonna to the activism work that is standing up against the people who, and it was particularly focusing on the people who are benefiting from the things that are happening, the people benefiting from the war, benefiting from the conflict. And those are the people that we really need to focus on. So
Thank you.
I think it's time. Do we feel ready to come back together, or have a minute to finish off?
One more minute. Thank you so much for that. That was
Okay.
very
Thank
thorough,
you.
and I feel like I got a lot of the really essence, and especially for me, in my process to discover how to, come to face the injustices in the world peacefully. I'm gonna get this put back.
Okay,
and on sensibility and
we still have time to talk more, so maybe finish this piece and we'll have time left.
thank you.
I'd appreciate that. But it's interesting, this kind of
Should we do this in
feelings that inner and outer.
threes?
Inner wanting to change the outer.
Okay, so each of us went. So I think what I want to I'd just take another moment to pause, notice what came out of your mouth, notice what you heard. Notice if there are things you didn't say that you are there. And I think we'll just split down the middle. So we'll have 4 here and 4 here. And let's have a go round. We'll have 20 minutes, or maybe a bit less. So maybe try and make it about 3-4 minutes each. Maybe try and leave space between so there's time to collect ourselves between contributions. And I invite you to try and, so it may not be the same thing that you just said in your pair, but what is really present for you as what you're taking from this morning session that needs following up. So that might be something that's beginning to take you towards a path, towards action, towards maybe something that needs connection with others. Maybe it's an idea that needs developing. So where are you finding yourself led now?
Led, like with regards to within this group or within a conference or in our wider lives.
I think we've been asked to focus on the beyond, so it's something that might go somewhere. And I'm kind of partly thinking there might be something that you need. We're a very small group here, so we were thinking about maybe it's things where you need to connect up with other people. Support it. But what's that sound like?
Yeah, I would say things that are relevant for you and might also be relevant to other people. Like themes that you feel are alive in the field or in the collective at this particular moment in time, this particular place, things that other people in this conference might also resonate with. Yeah, and might appreciate deeper work around.
Because ultimately, so our primary objective is to come up with 2 or 3.
Yeah, to serve the conference, yeah, and this what we're trying to create.
Carry on beyond the conference.
Yes, also. No pressure.
So this is a distillation process out of everything that's boiling in us.
So we could maybe form a little bit of a.
Oh no, I mustn't take these away because they're holding the flip chart. Can you?
Oh,
I'm falling over.
Holding that.
Okay, good.
It's okay.
It's okay. You
I'm
can.
gonna I'll just sit on the
Yeah, just sit on the
Then
edge.
she has
And then
that
she-
one. Yeah. I'm like
I'll try and remember to give a little bell every 5 minutes so that we're.
Usually like 2 or 3 minutes each.
I would say try and speak 3-4 minutes, and we'll have silence in between.
I can go first since I don't have much to say. Although, hang on one second. Can I interrupt us for 1 moment and we'll put this.
Yeah, again. But we can
To capture the sound a little bit better. Is that okay with the start? Okay, great. So I wasn't here for the morning session, but what's his name? Lori gave me a wonderful download, and what I got from that is that what's there for me, and I think for human beings, is to get right with ourselves so that we can be in the world as a force for peace.
Focus now is, and I think that I see that is try to find what is the best way for me
I find that our culture is based on a game, and it's a win-lose game in which there are people who consider themselves to be superior or other people inferior, and this automatically creates conflict. And if we're really serious about peace, we need to play a different kind of game. We need to play a different kind of game where everyone can be a winner, no one's a loser. And one of the things that I have been working for quite a bit of time is a process we call the enemy process. That for any project you do, Jen, or any project you do in your life, there's 4 alternatives. There are the people who are going to be active and the people who are going to be passive. But then amongst another dimension is the people who are going to be supporters of your project and the people who are going to be resistors of the project. And I feel that what we try and do is to convince people that we are right and that the resistors are wrong. And in the enemy process, what we do is we say that the person who's going to help your project the most is going to be the active resistor. And the way in which we do this is that we say that if you're the active resistor, the first thing we need to do when we find an active resistor is to celebrate.
Celebrate.
Because the active resistor is going to help my project the most. And then what I do is I go to the active resistor and I say, I know that you think my project is bad and wrong and stupid and shouldn't be done. And I'm sincerely interested in learning the reasons why. And I write down everything you say. And then I take what you say back to my group of active supporters and I say, we need to find an answer to every single one of these questions. And that is often hard work. It may take months. But when I've found the answer, I go back to the active resistor and say, remember the conversation we had 3 months ago? I think we found the answer. And you go, yeah. And I'll say, yes, but, and another long list. And you do this after 3 or 4 times, and eventually what will happen, and I've experienced this myself personally, is they will say, yes, I think it'll work. And then comes the biggest celebration of all. Because you say to that active resistor, thank you so much, because we wouldn't have thought about these things by ourselves. You have improved this project immensely. Would you like to join our dream team? And very often they say yes, because it's easier to convert an active resistor into an active supporter than it is to convert a passive supporter into an active supporter, because they're already active. And Jesus said to love your enemies, and we say, no, it's not just love your enemies, it's important. We need to work with our enemies, because your enemy has got a different point of view, and that's the source of creativity.
Wow. John, sometimes I feel I need to just record everything you say and then just listen to it at night. I used to start a podcast.
For myself, when I was listening this morning, and whenever I listen to people who've been through horrific situations, war, torture, anything like this, I feel there's a part of me that is distant from it, because I haven't experienced those things myself. I've lived a very privileged life, very comfortable life. I've traveled and tried to get exposure, but it's different than really these deep horrors. And I think this might also be true for many people at the conference. And I think it could be nice to speak about privilege openly and the guilt that this can bring up, the feelings of sadness or anger, or like, what role do we have as especially white privileged, mostly European people? So
that's kind of what I really believe in, and that I
was alive for me.
Yeah,
and just so much compassion and respect for the people who have gone through situations like this.
Is the my question that I'm kind of asking, Is there something also
I had the same sensation sometimes for that, to be very privileged. I lived half of my life in Italy, then to Colombia with a train ship, and I lived there 11 or 12 years. Meanwhile, I was there. I've been after this train ship. I've been studying at university and then teaching at universities, performing arts and Italian. And meanwhile, I was there teaching in a very high class university, performing arts and low class university, Italian language. I felt that the one by one process in educational process could help us to empathize and go a little deeper in how we can transform our behaviors. Because meanwhile I was working on acting, I was working directly on the behaviors of young people, to help them to see at them at their behaviors and transform it and be more connected with themselves, the others, and the context. So for me, art is much more to transforming behaviors than spread around information, but it's as well that. So it has several possibilities. For now, me is much more how you transform you through transforming your behavior and your way of connecting with the others and with yourself and with the environment. I do this introduction because this morning I was very, very touched. I'm surprised to be so deeply touched about the story of war. I reconnected with, there were resonance with what I lived in Colombia, not directly what people around me from these lower class people and higher class that doesn't know absolutely nothing about the war in the country they will live. Where they live, because they were took in the high class university, they were took from their home to their school during all their life, so they never leave the city or the country, and they see a little bit of information in the mainstream channels, but it's very little information and is manipulated. When I came back to Italy and I see the strong manipulation of information as well, about refugees and migrants movements, I felt quite lost, and now I'm like grabbing some consciousness of. For me, it's very important to act one by one in the process, in educational process, but massive as well in information process, because. Sometimes you can give a consciousness in one by one, or a way of develop your consciousness in one by one process. But when the massive information is so low quality, it's very difficult to keep alive this consciousness in youth. Yeah.
Do you know of the work of Paulo Freire?
Yeah, a little bit.
One of the things he says is that this activates dragon dreaming. He said that washing one's hands between the powerful and the powerless means to side with the powerful. It's not to be neutral. Which is really interesting. He also said, and this is another quote of his, what if we discover that our present way of life is irreconcilable with our vision to become fully human?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. What if we discover that our present way of life is irreconcilable with our vision to become, with our vocation to become fully human? He's really interesting. I met him in 1977
And then on the other side,
in Geneva when he was working for the World Council of Churches. And he gave me a 20-minute interview. 5 hours later, he was still talking. He's a magnificent man, truly magnificent. He said, in terms of what you were talking about, that in order to, he said that normal education is based on the banking idea, that I deposit a deposit in your head to make you, that you're ignorant and I know. And he said, no, I need to die as a teacher to be reborn as a learner.
Yeah.
And that is the true resurrection. That I'm a learner of your life. And through that, through conscientization, we can build a new path together. So it was, in terms of peace, it was so amazing. So amazing meeting this man.
where we are a bit. So I talked about the trauma labs, but where we are in
I found the
labs,
first
so
quote
Bridget,
like
we
really powerful for me because it's also a call to action.
Yeah.
You know, even people who haven't experienced or aren't directly touched by
Oppression or war.
yeah, you still, I mean,
It's
there's
not my
a
grant,
call
it's not
there
important
to
to
do
say
something,
my
even
grant,
so.
because when I'm
Yeah.
trying to reconcile and I'm trying to work with others, I need to
Thank you for your sharing. It stimulated all sorts of ideas going bing, 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 bing.
So I'm going to keep those.
So, what are some of the themes we're hearing? What are some maybe like titles or statements?
I think what you said, and what you said too in a different way, about acknowledging our fortune, acknowledging that we are privileged, acknowledging that we haven't experienced the depths of suffering that these others have. I think that's an emerging theme from what we've been saying.
Yeah. Start opening creating an opening for the conversation from that space.
Yeah.
I have a sense of like there's like a sentence that could be that created from what we all said, like it's very connected, but I don't have the brain power.
Well, I thought something you had said about going to the enemy, going to the other, and really like trying to understand and listen and not just saying, because that's also, you know, peace work. We think of people who are victims to oppressors, but also the oppressors are victims too.
Yeah.
And working with the oppressors and going to the enemy
And bringing that kind of process to the work with that was the immediate thought that I had when you were sharing about that if we could have conversations with the oppressors, the powerful, the people who are causing this suffering because of their needs, that if we could listen to them and find out what's their resistance to peace and come up with answers to those.
I also feel quite strongly that it's more of the system than it is the individuals.
Yeah.
Like I always try, like my exercise is to imagine that if I grew up with the same family, the same circumstances as Donald Trump, I could be him. I could make the same decisions.
Yeah.
Like
I wonder if there's something genetic in Donald Trump's makeup too.
if I had his genes,
Right.
you know, like it's the bigger cultural system that allows for these behaviors.
But we have also other challenges, big challenges.
And
When I was in this learning teaching, we called all the time teaching learning process. Never we called like a training learning process because we consider ourselves like facilitators, and we all the time were in the path of being listening the students and interchange and start from the knowledge that they have, no? I was thinking about being a learner always. So when you are like facing the resistance, you are a learner all the time. But I'm thinking how it's a long process to do, to make a proposal that answer the economical needs of who keep alive the wars, because in that case the resistance, at least in Colombia, is about they need to keep alive the war because they need to feed all the part of the war, including internal forces and external forces, among them United States and Northern Europe, that are involved feeding the war process. So I'm asking about how long does it take to go several times to this resistant person to propose them other way to make money, or how we can work toward education to change future leadership classes by this through this horizontal paths of learning, and involve them in this kind of process, like international net that take care about social change. And sometimes I ask if we are like just dreaming, or if you think that it will be possible that because what we were doing is internal terrorism, no? We put in high class university the seed of change. How long it takes?
How much time there?
It's time. Are we ready to come back?
I think so.
Let's come back.
Yeah, I'm going to sit on the floor. I feel more comfortable with this.
Sorry, I'm. Oh, they're Mars.
I'm borrowing because I
Yeah.
don't have mine.
I thought they had
Interesting
different
flavor.
here.
Yeah. There's- I see your
Oh, yeah, we need to share this. We need to be on the same page.
Well, I know in our group that was a pretty rich sharing. So now that we've shared in pairs and we've shared in groups of fours, now we can have a bit of sharing and hosting in a big circle together. And
Transcribe.
yeah, that'd be good to transcribe.
I think I might use the flip chart paper because then we can.
do you want to bring it?
Yeah, we could actually can put it on there. But then we can give it to people.
Yeah, and what we're looking for is if you can distill in your mind some core themes into a short word, phrase, sentence, something really short that people can like, oh yeah, that means something for me, that resonates with me. And if we can just collect, and we'll just collect them all, just, kind of popcorn, call out things that are emerging for you of themes based on what you heard from other people sharing or your own sharing. Anyone have one to start?
Bridge building? So, sorry,
No,
please
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no, you
No,
go.
go. You go.
No, you go.
Okay.
No, I go.
I want to hear from you. And then
Okay. Bridge building.
bridge building. Beautiful. Thank you.
And putting instruments from mainstream cultural institutions in service of this grassroots movement that is emerging to help in upscaling. For example, academic knowledge,
Okay.
to use it for advocacy, to use it for identifying trends, to use it also for mirroring, constructive mirroring, to use it for building bridges among grassroots projects, and also with institutions such as the state.
Okay. This is great. Let's make this into a phrase. So would you say upscaling tools?
I've
Yes.
already made a phrase. Is
Okay.
this?
Putting mainstream
Is this what?
instruments.
But
in
I
terms
am.
of grassroots, yes,
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay.
Also,
I wonder if tools might be more.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that was the word that was in my mind, but I wanted to use the one she said. So that's all. She may have said tools later,
Maybe
but
she said both.
instruments
yes,
came
you
first.
said both.
Okay.
I believe they mean the same, right? I'm not a native speaker of English.
It's very slightly different. But
Yeah.
not very.
Yeah, but and upscaling,
Upscaling.
yes.
Can I just want to, maybe we should be clear because we're going to be
Sure.
trying to distilling this down.
Mm.
So yeah,
Actually, I would like to hear one from each person, and
Yeah.
then we can kind of build that way.
Sure.
And you can hold your other ones, and let's hear from Karen.
I'm not quite sure how to crystallize it. But there's a question around, I guess it's around responsibility in some way, you know, that something about, okay, we all have our own unique vision and purpose, you know, in the whole picture of how to contribute to what's happening. So there's, I guess that's one thing, like how to activate each person's personal contribution.
Responsibility.
But then also the other question is kind of, is there a greater responsibility beyond that as well? You know, because your own personal unique purpose may not be something that is going to directly stop the house from burning down. But you know, so is there something that we should all be collectively creating stronger networks within our local communities?
Like collective responsibility. I can let Lori.
Okay.
and then just do it.
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I can connect with that one.
I think you can go ahead.
Yeah, my question would be how it's related to that. Like, how can I find my place in the system, but mostly related with the scale. How can I be like in order to have more impact? How can I go to a higher scale, or instead of being in the local, or on top of and being in the global abstract mind shift. Find my place in scale intervention.
Scale of intervention.
Right balance.
I would love to add the second sentence, that is putting mainstream instruments in hands of the grassroots. As well, the contrary, puts this instrument into the main institution, like doing, I don't know if it's okay to say it, but put inside the institution the seed of changes. And we called probably sometimes internal terrorism, no? Not
So what
to
was the word?
internal terrorism, like you go inside with your seed and
Sneak attack.
yeah.
That's what I did.
Because sometimes we keep apart. It's not a generalization, but sometimes we keep apart from the main institution. But what about if we enter and start to see it there, the change that helps everybody? And how will be the process of transforming resistance to an allies?
Allies.
Allies, yeah.
It's a process that we use in the work that I do. It's called the enemy exercise.
Yeah.
We say that,
Is this a theme?
yeah, it came out from the discussion. That the enemy exercise is there's two kinds of people. There's the people who are active and the people who are passive, and the people who support and the people who are resisting. And we spend a lot of our energy trying to change the passive supporters into active supporters. Sometimes it's easier to find the active enemy. And when you find the active enemy, the first thing you need to do is to celebrate them. And the second thing, you go to that person and you say, I know that you think that my project is bad and wrong and stupid and shouldn't be done. And I sincerely want to learn the reasons why. You write down what they say and you take that back to your group of active supporters. And you say, we need to find an answer to each one of these. And when you think you found the answer, it might take months. Go back to that person and say, Johnny, you remember the conversation we had so long ago? I think we found the answer. And you say, blah, 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 blah. And that person will say, yes, but, and they'll come up with another long list. And so you need to do this in an iterative way, 2 or 3 times. And eventually Johnny will say, yes, I think we will. And then comes the biggest celebration, as you say to that person, you know, you have helped our project so much. We would not have thought of these things without you. Thank you.
So, John, can you give me a phrase to write on the board?
The phrase is that we need not just to love our enemies, but to work with them.
Yes.
Can I just say we need to work with our enemies, or
Well, it's, you know, Jesus said we need to love our enemies.
Our enemies are our best resource.
Oh yeah, they are. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for some of them.
And I think related to that, this theme of maybe not othering. You think of like this enemy, like I had said in the group, there's the victims of crises and the oppressors, but also the oppressors are victims too. So how can we really understand that it's a wider systemic cultural thing? It's not the individuals themselves. They're caught up in the same system that we are. So something about, how to say, humanizing, not othering, and trying to understand the enemy.
there's, I mean, this is I guess I'm trying to get the whole of what you're saying, because there's a piece about the agents of the system being victims of the system, and how do we work?
Maybe creating systemic change through
Inclusivity or
Yeah.
interconnected.
yeah.
One recognizing that we're all one and we're all interconnected and we all there is no other.
It's linked to the idea, I think, that what you're saying, that if we dehumanize others, we're dehumanizing ourselves at the same time.
Yeah.
We're limiting what it is to be human.
I think it's important to say not dehumanizing and not othering.
I wouldn't write word as
Not.
negative.
Yeah, that's right.
I normally do agree.
I would try
I
to
know.
transform that sentence to positive. Also, with the other one, I'm not even sure if it's love our enemies but work with them.
And work with
maybe
them.
it's and
And
maybe it's
change
an
the
and,
but to
or
and.
maybe
Well,
we have
but
to work
also-
with enemies and love them.
Yeah.
Maybe work is easier than love.
Yeah. Johnny, I normally agree with making positive sentences, but I also think sometimes when we just write like interbeing or interconnection, it loses the practicality of it. Like,
I guess what I was hearing was a particular thing about working with. Like, I mean, is it enemies? I'm just wondering, is this an additional bit
No, I think
Jo-
she's
of
just talking about the
John's?
next one.
or is it because I felt you had a particular thing which was about recognizing that the individuals
yeah,
are
maybe we
actually
could say,
are actually
like I had said, like creating systemic shifts, systemic change, as opposed to like focusing like on yeah,
It's like seeing the whole picture, isn't
Seeing
it?
the whole
That it's
picture,
not
yeah.
it's not as simple as like these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. It's like it's what's happening is because of the whole way that culture has been created. We're all it's like the Ho'oponopono prayer, isn't it? That we're to kind of like we're all one and we're all part of the problem. We're all part of the solution.
We are all one and many.
Stay out of the drama triangle.
That's good. That would be my thing. Ho'oponopono.
Cynthia, do you have a phrase that has now crystallized with all this help?
Your first instinct of not othering.
I would
not
like to
othering.
put down
yeah.
what I
Ignore Johnny's suggestion.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go with your instinct.
yeah, not othering, and I would like and creating systemic changes.
What's going on there? I can say that now. Can you put the othering in?
Quotes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ignore your news.
So we might want to speed up a little bit, I think.
I said I interjected mine.
you want to say it again?
Yes, please. Ho'opono.
What colour? I'm going to put it in green. Ho. Let's see if I get the spelling right. Ho. Is that a separate word? Or no?
Yeah.
Ho'opono.
O double P, single P.
Single. I think.
Yes.
Oh, or is it?
Huh?
I'm not. I'm not.
I can't remember how you
Yeah, we know.
separate it, but
Opono,
it's like
pono.
ho.
Yeah,
pono,
it's separated
pono.
with an
I think it's
I know
Okay.
this one is.
Can we have a
Po, no.
I'm sorry.
No.
Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
So is there more of that?
No, that's all.
That's all.
Ho'oponopono means
Okay, it
I'm
doesn't mean all
sorry.
that.
Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
And it's a Hawaiian prayer that basically you say it for anybody. So you're saying it to source because you're recognizing that even if this person has done this to this person, you're still somehow responsible as being in the oneness field, and so you're saying
Just
it
before
back
you
to
take that
source, and it has
line,
had
it's something
incredible
that's-
results.
I shared just one thing, a statement from Paulo Freire, which is washing one's hands of the conflict between the powerful and the powerless is not to be neutral. It is in fact
Should be the whiteboard up there.
to side with the powerful.
Yes. Can you say that again? So to wash your hands,
Wash your
of
hands
the,
of the conflict between the powerful and the powerless is not to be neutral. It is in fact to take sides with the powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
It's
from
the
that,
solidarity, it's the
Yeah.
building solidarity
yeah,
with the powerless.
and to be active, we had
To be
to.
active.
Do we have another one that we're adding? I'm sorry. And that there
Well,
are
I
others who
wondered
have-
if it was because these were very much about building connection between the oppressor and the oppressed. But we shouldn't, in building those connections, not wash our hands of the conflict.
Yeah.
I'm conscious that Cynthia asked us to give us a word or a short sentence each, and we're having quite a lot of conversation around it, and some people haven't spoken, so I don't know if we're missing people's inputs.
Yeah, maybe actually, Lori, maybe I could write because
'Cause
then
you
I
would
could
write
also
better than me.
facilitate.
Oh, that-
No,
yeah.
because right now you're not scribing; you're trying to facilitate
I'm
and
sorry.
stable.
And
Oh,
you
it's
haven't
okay.
spoken yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I heard, Jen, from that is to be
Engaged.
engaged. That there's no being passive in this. We're all
And
part of it.
and also that social justice is working with the and not avoiding the struggle between rich and poor, powerless and powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing that really came up strongly for me this morning was one of there's something about eco villages on being at a place of conjunction,
On the edge.
at a place of conjunction. That there are many different dimensions to what's going on. That there is trauma, there is pain, there's there's direct violence. There's the landscape of separation, of conflict, of injustice, but also of separation. So people who have not looked their neighbours in the eye for many years, or have not shaken their neighbour's hand. And there's how we're building those connections. There's civil disobedience and putting out the fire and dealing with the urgency, which means that we do have to intervene in the system, stand in the way of the truck, whatever it is. There's modeling, building the alternative. And there's, with all of that, there's the inner work. So I was just really struck with Sunita talking about how her work arose out of meditation in the forest in the middle of this conflict. There is also the relationship, mediation, healing work.
And are you saying all this is within eco villages?
Yeah, so there's something about eco villages of this conjunction. But how, and I'm thinking about Extinction Rebellion. How do we connect with all of these different? And I think eco villages seem to be a place where these different pieces can be brought together, and I think they need to be, because we're working with such a messy, complex system.
So what I hear you saying is that eco villages is a place of bringing everything together.
Yeah, and the refugees, the refugee work.
Johnny was talking about.
I would like to draw attention to something that was said this morning about that, which is eco villages are neutral grounds where these species can be brought together, and so they're privileged places for peace education. But what happens to the skills that people gain while they're gaining education at eco villages once they get out? Once they go back into their homes, into their communities, into their everyday conflicts. Remember the young man from Palestine who didn't want to be filmed or photographed because otherwise he could be killed. And he was saying about people he knows that who think that everyone else who's not Palestinian is an enemy. What happens when you go back and you experience once again the peer pressure you experienced before? Can you still hold to the intentions and the skills you developed while in the neutral place that is an eco village? Shouldn't we also try to branch out, to reach out, and and to apply the methods developed in eco-villages in other settings, which are closer to the concept.
I think that what Camille was saying is his connection to Ruth.
To what?
To Ruth.
Yes.
And that was.
Yeah.
And so even though you didn't want to publicise that connection with Ruth, and they can support each other.
Eco villages supporting each other? Is that what
No,
you said?
I mean individuals supporting each other and
Mhm.
maintaining the
Mhm.
connection.
I have one that was quite strong for me. Just opening a conversation for white privilege and for privilege
Yes.
for those who
Yes.
haven't experienced all of these conflicts, probably like many people here at the conference. I don't know, but you know, how do you deal with this privilege and the guilt and the things that come along with it?
Very
Yeah,
important.
Yes.
it's a
And-
big thing right now in the United States.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Which
the
was, yeah.
ignorance that goes along with that. You know, the that we don't, because we don't have the experience.
I think
It's
the
a
pri-
it's a place of learning.
I think the privilege landscape and the trauma landscape are quite closely
Mm.
connected.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yes.
There's a sort of recognizing where we are in them and how our position shifts and how the ground shifts.
Mm.
Any other ones just that you feel like we don't have yet here? Any new ones? I also wanted to, you had said something earlier about upscaling and I cut you off.
Yes.
Mm.
About upscaling.
Mhm.
Okay, applying. Okay, in first place, mediating between eco villages and other grassroots sustainability projects and state, financial institutions, universities, and other mainstream institutions, structures, and culture.
Yeah,
It's a big one.
but an
Yes.
organization itself.
Yes. And you think it's possible?
I think it's possible to find allies
Yes,
and then look at how do allies support each other and bring that to
exactly. And I think that cross fertilization can be a great way of doing that. For example, bringing instruments like what you were saying, how dragon dreaming contributes to create quantitative indicators of peace
Mhm.
and of reaching goals that can be brought into university-based research,
Mhm.
and academic
we're gonna be-
methodologies can be put
I was going to bring to
into service of grassroots projects through participatory action research.
Mhm.
Yes,
Just so you know, Jen does a lot of work with the UN and governments.
I
and
know.
Yeah, so it's
yes, I know.
cool. Good. All right. Well, awesome.
That
Well,
would be enough, I think, for
how much time do we
the
have? left?
emergence forum.
Well, it's 20. It's 5 7.
Digesting
Just on
all of
one,
that
5 past one.
emergency.
So it depends what we really want to.
I'm sorry. I started the shift 10 minutes ago, so I have to leave. If everybody agrees, if it's a problem for you. Thank
No, you must
for
stay.
roasting me, and sorry, but
No
I have
problem.
to
Go
And
ahead.
volunteer. No,
yeah.
understandable.
Thank you so much. It has
Thank
been very
Thank you for the
rich.
contribution.
So how much time do we have
Thank you.
until then? This session?
Well,
been great
lunch
to
is at
go.
1:30.
Okay.
What time is it now? Oh, 10.
It's 5. It's being 10 past 1.
All right. So with this list here, we've been asked to try to feel into 3 topics that feel like they're most strong and most relevant for the conference participants here.
Or
I'm
2
seeing 3 things already. I think you could put sort of a star next to the ones that are individual, maybe a circle next to the ones that are mainstream or institutional or cultural, and maybe a square next to the ones that relate to others and othering in some way, or dealing, the enemies and the things like that. And that might be an interesting way of
like individual, collective, and world.
individual, collective, and well, I was thinking individual and collective, putting the world in with the collective or cultural, and then looking at how we relate to others.
Individual,
Maybe, I don't know.
interpersonal, and collective.
It kind of ties a little bit maybe into the Ken Wilber's diagram of the 4 quadrants, maybe a little bit. No? That's a stretch, too stretch.
For me, it's
Well, he wasn't doing the he was doing the individual plural, but not the inner outer.
I'm just saying it makes me
Yeah.
think of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
model. Johnny?
No, I was saying that it's only one scale.
Johnny knows what I feel about Ken Wilber.
Okay. So how does that idea resonate? Laurie, did you have something?
I don't know. I think there are different dimensions. I guess our original thought was actually to see what really has legs in terms of that are acting in this that you would really like to take forward. So if there's somebody who actually feels there's something they would really want to identify with, then that gives you a sense of it really having legs. But I guess if we're really focusing on grouping and what are the themes, I think the individual supporting individual development, individual contribution is one. I think there is certainly the collective engagement. Is that as equabilities as Jen? I don't know. Is one. But then I do think there are some quite strong different stances, if you like, within this. So there's the healing and trauma work. There's the being the alternative work, the future work. There's bridging gaps work. So those are. So are those different themes, or do we? I mean, I guess that was maybe where I was trying to go with. Equability is a place we can pull them all together, but I feel there's this challenge of the diversity of this. Of how do we put it together?
John, could you say what you said again one more time? I just want to write it down so we can visualize it.
Stars for
Yeah.
individual,
Uh-huh.
circles for collective, and squares that don't fit clearly into both. Othering.
But is there also different kind of collective? So there's collective that these are things we would do as eco-villages.
Well, collective,
then-
I think, is eco-villages or the groups that we belong to,
Okay.
not just
But
eco-villages.
when
'cause there's a lot
when
of-
we're talking about doing stuff in mainstream institutions,
well, I think that's part of the collective too.
Well, I think that everything in the universe is an individual and a collective. It's just that,
Johnny and I have discussions about this quite
we already
regularly.
agreed many years
We
ago
already
to
we
disagree.
already agreed to disagree.
because I think one of the questions for many people here may be, I'm actually not in an eco-village. I'm maybe working in an ordinary job. How can
And
I
that's
be-
where seeds
how
are
can I
changing
be-
mainstream institutions. It's also where applying the methods of eco-villages to other settings. It's also the I can see a couple of
Yeah, there is a little we don't necessarily need to group them. That's not necessarily our task, but just to identify ones that we
Emergent
feel really
themes.
strong. Maybe even if we could just some exercise. Oh, I got an idea. Ready to go for this?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to read each of these out loud, and maybe you can even just close your eyes. And if you feel something in your gut, like, oh yeah, there's a fire there, like that feels really alive for me, you can just maybe raise your hand, like, yes, really alive. No, not so much. Something like a little.
Or
But I
They
want
are in
everyone
compare
to
with
do
each
this
other.
with your eyes closed, so that
Yeah.
you can't be influenced from other people.
But
I think it's
I
nice
need
to
to
have,
I need to record
a
it.
scale, because then it's easier for you to see.
No, Cynthia's you're
will-
going to record
I
it.
will record
You're
it.
keeping
Oh,
your
you
eyes
will
open.
record
I
it.
will
She's
record
keeping
it.
her eyes open.
I wish we had another color marker because it's tricky when we have all these different colors.
Oh, there's an orange over there.
Can we
No,
borrow
orange,
one of
don't
you?
take the orange. Don't
Can we
take the
borrow
orange.
one of-
Take anything
Yeah,
but the orange.
There's two oranges.
Just, no. bring anything but the orange.
It's
go.
too
But she's
orange.
using the oranges.
No, she said we
No,
can
don't
use
lend
it.
your oranges. Lend other color. Bring us other color.
Oh, well, what would you like us to use?
Like a pink or
yeah.
whatever.
Not green,
You know,
red,
other color
not
you
green,
don't
red,
have
or
to
blue.
use.
I'm
She's
thinking
using orange. Don't.
Don't
Purple.
take her
I have to
orange.
protect
She
her.
needs orange. Yeah.
She's my team.
Thank you. Can we all use the same method? Otherwise, if we're like,
I would prefer if everyone
Yeah.
can use their hands to
Yeah.
indicate.
I was
the level.
making a recommendation of the
I would prefer
occupied.
this.
Let's
the
go with
level.
this.
Yes, great. Right. So
I'm beginning to get tears
So
on the
let's,
yeah, do it.
yeah. So let's kind of enter that concept, and I'll just read them out loud. Bridge building. Okay. Putting mainstream instruments in hands of grassroots. Activating each person's unique contribution and creating stronger networks and collective responsibility. How can I find my place and scale of intervention? Sowing seeds of change in mainstream institutions. We need to not just love our enemies, but also to work with them.
And also,
And also. Not othering and creating systemic changes. Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Not avoiding to be engaged. Eco-villages as places of conjunction for inner work, resistance, and activism, bringing everything together. Applying the methods of eco-villages to other settings. Individuals supporting individuals. White privilege. Trauma. Upscaling. Mediating with other institutions.
Make an iPad.
Yeah, you can open your iPad. So I did the size of the star correlates with how many people put their hand up. So I'm gonna underline ones that were big here, like really big, because a lot of you put your hands up all the way for everything. And I also want to recognize we might be a little biased just based by the makeup of this group into certain things. But yeah, these were the ones that were the strongest, but then these ones were also quite strong. Yeah, this one too. So bridge building was strong, activating each person's unique contribution and creating stronger networks and collective responsibility. Eco-villages as a place of conjunction was strong, and then upscaling. The last one was really strong. So, and then these ones were also strong. Not just loving our enemies, not othering, and applying the methods of eco-villages to other settings. I think maybe these two are kind of related.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess I think there's a bit of a thing for me of actually clarity about are these. I guess the question for us was about things that can lead to action, and I guess I'm thinking about how these really will work as a conversation around action, although that may not be what will actually happen in the emergent space. So.
And I think maybe you and I had a different sense of what it was.
Okay.
I'm realizing now.
Okay.
So yeah. So what do you guys think? How
Good, thanks.
I think that we can merge a few of these
merge a few of
sentences.
them,
Yeah.
Definitely. I heard for sure the systemic changes, sewing chains of mainstream institutions, and what were the other ones? There were like a bunch of institutional.
I'm kind of feeling like we should try and wind up fairly quickly. So I guess do we focus on those? So we've got 3 or 4 there. Is that actually a good enough place to be handing over to the emergent?
Maybe John, how
Yeah,
do you
well,
feel?
I'm looking at that. I'm just trying to get the scoring system down so I can sort of get my head around it and take it to the emergent form.
Okay.
I'm missing one.
So bridge building,
Not avoiding engaging is a middle size one.
villages.
Yeah, I think I've got them.
This one down here too.
Yeah.
That's the first
But
one.
it's the middle size ones I'm trying to get.
Some close seconds, I have to say.
Applying methods of eco-villages to other settings is a middle size one.
So yeah, bridge building, activating.
I would put bridge building, putting mainstream instruments in the hands of grassroots.
Similar. Yeah.
Yeah, sowing seeds of change, applying the methods of eco-village to other settings, and upscaling together.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Can you say that again?
Bridge building, putting mainstream instruments, sowing seeds of change, applying the methods of eco-village to other settings, and upscaling.
Okay. Although I think bridge building possibly could mean a lot of different things. But you
It
said
could
it
be the
first.
name of
Yeah.
the theme, but it encompasses
It's a
all of these
theme.
things, doesn't it?
It's more of a
So are there other obvious?
institutional bridge building.
Are there other obvious clusters?
Yeah, the activating each person's unique contribution, and the
Yeah.
next, which is how I find my place, like it's in the
Yeah.
right place, and
And I've
yes,
got a point
how
too.
my
Yes,
unique
of
contribution I
course.
can find the right scale.
And
Is
love
this one?
yes.
Because the voiding is something that we tend to do as individuals. Isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it may also be eco-villages that are being insular eco-villages, but
Yes. And just love our enemies, work with them. I believe it belongs in the same cluster.
oh, that's interesting.
Yes. As well as white privilege.
Okay,
and
now
trauma.
I struggle with that a bit because I think these are about personal pathways, whereas
Yeah.
this is more about a core value,
Ah, okay. I
Yeah,
see.
and white privilege, I agree too.
and I think that's actually a core value.
Oponopono, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's also individual.
So sorry, I think there's stuff here, but so okay, I would say there's a 3, which is about values and how how we approach enemies, so-called othering, forgiveness, reconciliation. White privilege is part of that, as is trauma. Well, yeah, that may not be quite the same thing.
White privilege and trauma were linked, you said.
That's maybe
Yes,
in the individual.
so-
Well, they are. They go into a slightly different. They come in a slightly different way. But yeah. The landscape is similar, but the work is around them is slightly different. But there's healing work versus
Recognition.
yeah. And then this one just puts everything together.
If I can have that, take it with me for the emergence forum.
Hey, that means we've done our task. We can give it to him and then
You will continue with the work.
Because I'm doing the emergence forum tonight.
It's at what time?
5 till 7.
Where about?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, okay.
We're having them given out. But they haven't been published. This is one of the
5 to
problems.
7.
These are very emergent sessions with emergent. People haven't been told. So you may get
they'll be told. Sasha and Vera and came up with quite a creative way of sharing people's positions by having a space in which 5 entrances and people can enter in.
Did you have a celebration?
Oh, well, I was just listening to John.
Well, I think it's time to close.
Thank you, people.
Yeah. Well, we just did a bit of work together. We did a lot of sharing and we went deep, and I really appreciate kind of the gentleness of it and the really calm, reflective space. And so I hope that we can each be continuing to do this work of deep listening throughout the conference, listening into sessions, hearing threads, and helping to inform the group on what's emerging from the collective. Yeah, it's this important distillation work. So yeah, thank you all for coming. And I think that we had tried to end early so you could have a little bit of a break time before lunch, and maybe also listen in on some of the other sessions as they're wrapping up too.
Thank you.
And if you, whoever wants to be on the Facebook, I can add you and or the YouTube.
All together.
Really, really wise people.
JD.
As in
And I'd love to talk to you about how to partner.
Have you seen it on my website? You had said you're doing a series, or you have a series.
I'm currently, I mean, this is it right now. It's starting.
Oh, yeah.
It's I'm exploring. I'm kind of experimenting with live streaming platforms as a
Ruth Andrade. Yes.
But you're just doing this like in your own
Yes.
personal. So you're not part of an organization or a.
not yet. I mean, I have a few organizations that have offered support and kind of backing of like, just kind of a name, so like there's Communitas,
Communitas still?
yeah, I just I don't know with Michael Gosney. That's right.
Okay, great.
Yes, yeah. So Michael Gosney is a mentor, supporter, and
Writing. Can I email you?
there's another platform that I'm looking at that's called Popology. I don't know what exactly that relationship is going to be, but it was an interesting
And you said that
organization
Nourish Young Grande also
creating work of inquiring into popular culture. And
indicators for effective communication.
yeah, I would love to see how I can create some relationships with Jen and FIC. Yeah.
Whenever I should write my thesis about this.
Yeah,
Trying to make it last.
Yeah,
Do I add your,
in general.
Okay.
No, but it's good because now.
and what are your position if FIC?
I've been on the board of trustees for 4 years, and now I'm a communications director.
Yeah. So I'm good, you know, kind of a good person to talk to.
Person.
But if you were going to put it black,
Could I change my mind?
And yeah, and then feel free to tag FIC and Jen.
How do you spell
Okay, let me see. I guess I'm like,
I wish I would have a good white.
is it on,
Yeah.
what is it on Facebook? Is it
But
Fellowship?
at the beginning,
Foundation. They recently changed her.
It's been very interesting.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Are you familiar with the Fellow Foundation?
But
Well, we kept FIC.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Kind of.
I'm curious about that change, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, the organization was started 35 years
I
ago.
was wondering how you go to the sound of a forest growing.
The word
So it's
fellowship
only one.
we have found brings
Yeah,
up
but
certain
it's
connotations
very
for
basic.
people, and we're really
Yes.
trying to professionalize and kind of enter
Is it
a different
This is
sphere. And so foundation felt like an
This one is
easy
higher.
swap where we could keep the FIC acronym.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
So
Now,
and
what
we
that
did a
means
major rebranding
is your
process,
right
and totally
shoulder
changed our
strikes
website
that
and all of that. So.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
You like the new website?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I like foundation.
You like
for
foundation.
intentional community. I
Yeah,
think it's
I
a,
had
it's
signed
an,
it for the
it's a
first
good
time when I was
choice for the times that we're in.
I have spina bifida
Um,
and that's always
Cool. Well, I look forward to
Yes.
having
And
sit
the
down and
veterinary
talk
therapist
more
I was working
soon.
Yeah, it might be actually difficult
Right. Yeah.
during these conference days because I'm like working.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. I get that.
Let me give you a-
and said, you know, run from there to there and back. And
How
it
do
was
I-
again.
Oh,
And
nice.
when I did the second time,
I think it's almost learned.
Oh, John Croft.
It's interesting that now I've been having more pain on my left side. And because I feel that there are some positive changes going on in terms of
whatever you
emotional awareness.
Mhm.
So it might be related
Okay,
to that.
thanks.
I think- yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, actually, one
Our
question.
bodies,
Was it like a
saying
special
things we've got to
that's
never
the
lie.
idea?
Exactly.
It can be mistaken, but it never lies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so curious about that conversation because I have a lot of
that's probably
not just recently,
Yeah.
but more.
Oh, God.
Interesting.
So John Croft.
J.D.
Thank you
Croft,
so much,
Oh,
John.
Jade.
J.D. Croft.
Thank you for that.
Oh,
So can I contact you after July to ask for
Yes,
copies?
yes, yes.
Yes, and I love Ruth as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great.
She's great.
She's amazing.
She is totally. They
Cynthia,
work with them.
yeah, we'll ask her. Yes,
Sociopathy.
could I have your contact details as well?
Oh, okay.
If you could write them down, I prefer that rather than have your card.
Okay.
I lose the cousin
You go to
quickly and I'm going to
Dragonbridge.
backpack for a month after
Dragonbringer.org.
the conference, so
On the web,
it's better to have all of that in my
you'll
notes.
find in there. There's a lot
Better
of
to have all the
materials.
contacts.
I wanted to, do you want to be
Okay.
tagged on the video for,
Yeah,
that I shared on Facebook?
Yeah, and she,
So I'm liking Dragon Dreaming. Is that yours?
My
Dragon
research
Dreams,
says
no,
that
no,
the
Dragon
kind of
Dreaming
bridge
dot org.
building
that's Dragon
questions
Dreaming Australia.
more than ideas.
Okay.
Bridge building across.
Dragon
Between
Dreaming.
transition projects and
Do you have
mainstream
any
institutions.
kind
I
of
will
How
finish
to
with yours.
bring
John
them in.
Croft. And you'll see my profile. You'll see
You
my
know,
profile.
this is my.
There's a couple of John Crofts, including cousins.
Let's see.
I should have one of those with me too. That's a great idea.
But some of those are
Now I
delivered.
have the courage to
I mean, maybe in a way, I guess I feel like that's where I did it.
Yeah.
That's a state initiative, interfaith global influence.
Found, here we go, founder of Dragon Dreaming.
Yeah, it's,
I should have them.
that's
So I sent you a friend request.
So you've got more money.
And I'll share with you, I'll share
Well,
with
I mean,
you.
something else. I select the layer.
And then once you have me, I'll
Mark,
tag you.
great.
It's very scary, but when I spend a lot of time.
Thank you, this, as well as the website.
I feel like
It's got more.
paper
And
scary.
Yeah, I know I've promised other people to meet, and then I'm like,
No,
no,
no.
I'm gonna lose you if we don't exchange information. So.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to after the conference. Where are you going after
I'm
the
going
conference?
to the ICSA conference, the International Communal Studies Association.
New York,
conference. Yeah, it happens every 2 years. It's more academic, but about community, people who study community.
I would like to attend that in the future.
Me too.
The idea, this is, we have a great little confluence here.
Sorry, do you mind sharing
I
your
would
contact
be
details as well?
happy to.
Thank you. I'd rather have it in my notebook than in cards.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I might.
Are you
yeah.
on the face crack as well?
Yes, I am.
Would you type your name in there for me?
Yes, face crack. I love
That's
that.
I'm on the face crack.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
Free base in that.
Yeah, I'm Margarita. I'm this one. I'm not this one that shows up.
Wonderful.
We have a lot of friends in common. Yeah, you're on Facebook as well, Cynthia, right?
I'm definitely.
Yes, me too. I'm on Facebook because of international connections.
It's such a great tool.
It is. Are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook as well? Not active.
Okay, I sent you a friend
I
request.
only use it as
It's interesting. Yeah.
Uh,
And I use Facebook mainly for political work and for sharing pictures and
mhm.
stuff. I rarely share personal stuff on it, and definitely not food pictures or or cat pictures.
It's my job. It's funny because I've never been attracted to social media, but
Yeah,
now when it's my job, I have to say, okay, I'm gonna spend at least 10 minutes each day looking at it,
yeah.
so I can stay current on what's happening.
Oh, Johnny left. The Spanish man.
Yes.
Oh,
he
that's a
just walked
pity. I
off.
wanted to connect with him because of.
I think he's walking. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see him later. The Eclipse has
Yes.
a workshop this afternoon, right?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm
Well-
needing to get some food.
Oh, you
soon,
gotta go.
but,
Okay.
You wanted
is there
to.
something you wanted to say? Or-
No, that's it. That's it so far. Then we'll connect on Facebook.
Okay.
All right. Is it okay if I add you?
Yeah, of course.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and I sent you a friend request, and I will look up found. I want to make sure that I'm liked foundation and I'll tag. And yeah, just seeing about when maybe this would be.
The month of August, I'm gonna go into a work. So that would be a perfect time.
Okay, great. All right, I'm gonna
Where are
go.
you originally from in the States?
Just north of Boston.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh yeah. My
Yeah.
accent?
Yeah, I lived in Rhode Island for 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I was guessing you were from New England.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Huh.
I don't have much of an accent anymore, but
Yeah.
I'm still proud to be from New England.
It's great to meet you.
Likewise. And then I would love to keep in touch with you regarding the documentary.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear about the research that you've been
Sure,
doing
absolutely.
and share it.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about that, and even if you want to interview me regarding that, I would love to.
Yeah. Are you staying today?
No,
No.
I'm leaving on the 18th.
Okay. Well, maybe on the 18th before you. What do you know? What time are you leaving
I
early?
would
on?
like to leave in the morning because I want to go to Pisa
Oh,
and find a hostel, and I have then to plan my travels. I have to be in south of France on the 21st
okay.
in the morning.
Well, yeah. Then what's today? The
Today is the 15th.
15th.
Yeah, we
So
still have time.
before the 17th.
Yeah,
By
for
the
sure.
17th, we'll have a talk. And I'm going to go walk around with my live stream. Do you want to say hi to the world? Nobody's watching yet, but someday they might be.
Hello. I don't know who I'm talking with, but nice to meet you.
And will you share something about what you're doing here?
So I've been graphic recording a keynote conversation during this second day for the Gen conference about peace. A talk very inspiring. So I've been capturing with visuals the content of the talk.
Beautiful. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
art.
I notice every time I come, and also in many other places where I've been, how every time we seem to be progressing to the next level in the work that you do and in the work that everybody here, what we bring in our intentions and our real participation in the workshops. And when we go home, we continue this work, and I'm amazed. It's not going slowly. It's going like that. And I really like that. It's really very, very encouraging.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, that's it for the morning session. Thanks for watching. I look forward to sharing this some more. I was in a small session, but there were several other big sessions going on all around us. And just so incredibly inspiring. And I am grateful for this opportunity to be here and to share this very, very important work that's happening. I want to say more, but I'm going to go have some lunch now. Okay. Bye for now.